Hello and welcome to Doris's Kitchen. Now today we're going to make a salmon pie. Okay, I did promise somebody on YouTube that I would make a salmon pie because they like the old traditional stuff. So a salmon pie we're going to make today. But you don't want to click this video off because we also have a story to tell you. Sometimes when you do a video, a cooking video, making your sample to show the end result is so much better, and that should have been the video than the actual video itself. But I'll tell you that story in a little bit. First, we're going to add 2 cups of mashed potatoes. Okay, so if you have your, you make your mashed potatoes like you normally would and everything. If you already add your salt and pepper to your mashed potato, you won't need to add it to this recipe. So just do your mashed potatoes, you know, with the butter and milk, salt and pepper lightly, you're all set. So first we're going to add 2 cups of mashed potatoes. Okay. Then we're going to add 1 cup, so just cut it in half. 2 cups potato, 1 cup of pink salmon. Okay, now if you buy the can, you can make 2 pies out of the can. Okay? Unless you have a fisherman like I do, the young hunt. He goes after his salmon and everything. You're going to want to cook the salmon first. Okay, so 2 cups of mashed potatoes, 1 cup of salmon, and then a half a cup of onions. Okay, now when we were a kid growing up, salmon pie and stuff was always the thing for Friday night. And part of being a good cook is not only cooking to please yourself, but cooking to please others who may enjoy different foods that you don't. I myself never liked salmon pie, but my son does, and my nephew who lives next door, he loves salmon pie. So, since each can makes 2 pies, they're each going to get one. So you just blend this all up, just like that, nice and easy. So here you can see how it's all just blended right up. The onions, mashed potatoes, and salmon. Now we're going to add that to our pie. Okay, I know you're all waiting for the story, so I'll tell you the story. Well, you know, I have a neighbor. He's from Jersey. Call him the Jersey boy. And he comes up to Maine just for the summer. And he was over, and my nephew who lives next door, he had also come over while I'm making my pie crust here. And they start talking about, they got all this extra technology pieces, you know, for computers and all these cords and an extra dead computer and stuff. And he asked my nephew if he wanted it. Well, a while back, he asked me if I wanted a webcam. And I had said, oh my God, no, I don't want no webcam. I'm too afraid that because I don't know enough about computers, that the thing would be on when I went in the office, and everybody would see me in my PJs. So I said, nah, I don't want none of that. But I kind of got introduced to blog TV, and I'm thinking, well, you know, maybe I could do this. I'll just learn to plug and unplug. So he's talking about, well, do you want them? And I have them and everything, and you know, he had apparently used the computer and then went to Jersey, and it just sitting in a cold building all went along. Just wasn't working right anymore, but my nephew, he can fix all that stuff. So, of course he says yes. So I mentioned that, you know, hey, you had brought that up before. So, do you have a webcam that has microphone on your webcam? Because some of them do, some of them don't. And if I'm going to do blog TV, because I'm giving it a thought, basically to talk about senior issues, because I am 58. So I thought, you know, where the boomer generation, baby boomer generation is getting older, it might be something nice to do. So I asked the guy, I says, I'm adding milk just so that the top will seal good with the bottom, because when you cook it, if you don't, you know, it doesn't have the good seal, and then it just separates. So that's the reason why I'm putting milk around here. Okay, just for sealing, and then you work a little bit so that the flour and everything's going good in your crust. And so anyhow, as soon as I says, hey, you know, do you have that webcam? You know, because, you know, I do videos. About that time I said, I do videos. Man, that guy's ears just popped right up. It was so funny. It was like a golden moment. I mean, you could swear that guy's ears got pointy. You know, he's like this with his nose, and boy, he picked up on this conversation going on at the table and not there at the chair that he was having with my nephew. So he just picks right up. He goes, videos? You do videos? I says, oh yeah, you know, I make videos for YouTube, and you know, they put ads on it, and people click on the ads, you know, I get paid. So, well, then he just looks like this, you know, he's got glasses on. He looks over his glasses, all of a sudden his head, you know, from like this there to, what did she just say? Videos? Looks like this over on his glasses. He says, and how are we dressed for this? About then you just cracked right up laughing. It was like so comical. I mean, you know, you talk about precious moments, and I'm going, oh God, this should have been the video. You know, it's just sometimes you have so much fun preparing and getting ready and everything that you miss out on a good opportunity. So that was the best video. I thought that was just cool. That was nice. Okay, now we cut all the extras. That was like unreal. I mean, you know, you talk about precious moments from kids and everything. Well, this man is 52 years old, so you can bet that if I'd have had a different answer, I would have surely had myself a lifetime subscriber. Oh, it was so cool. Okay, we're going to flour just so that the crust doesn't stick on our fork. Yep, he would have definitely have been a lifetime subscriber. When you do this, just tilt it back a little bit to push forward and then press. That was like, whoop, a little bit extra here. That was like just golden. It was like, oh my God. So I explained to him, well, okay, I'm all dressed here. And my girls might be dressed up nice. I says, but I'm fully dressed, you know. So then I went into explaining a little more. I mean, you know, he saw me making a pie, you know. The first, you know, the sample pie to show you, you know, the end result and everything. He watched me turn around and make that, but he wasn't putting it all together. And then, of course, you know, I'm stopping and I'm thinking, oh my God, how did this really sound to this man, you know? Sounded pretty bad. So, you know, you just gotta laugh at stuff like that. You know, that's what life is all about. You gotta have some laughter, because laughter is the best medicine. All right. But I thought that was so funny, but boy, oh boy, I'd have had me a lifetime subscriber there. Every video would have been watched. No problems. It was funny anyhow. All right, now I soften, just let some butter on there and kind of soften a little bit. And I'm going to go around. Now, you know how some people will turn around and put the tin foil because the crust will dry out, you know, during the cooking and everything? Well, this kind of saves me from doing that, because half the time when you do that, you go to take it off, take that tin foil off because somebody recommended it. You end up taking your crust off, and, you know, it can be a mess, and I'm sorry, but it won't look pretty. Now, okay, welcome to Doris's Kitchen. And today we're going to make a lasagna, but we're making it with deer meat. Okay, if you check the Young Hunt channel on YouTube, you will see he got his deer. So we're going to start with 1.5 cups of mozzarella, shredded cheese. Okay, 1 small container of ricotta. Small container of cottage cheese. Okay, and then we're going to add some Parmesan grated cheese, only because this helps to absorb the liquids from the cottage cheese. Okay, we'll get that right out of the way. And we just blend it. Now also, if you check the Young Hunt YouTube channel, you'll see the nice grinder he had to grind up some of his deer meat for a hamburger. And that's what we're going to use, is the deer meat that we grinded up into hamburger. So for all you deer lovers and everything, you're really going to enjoy this one. And because of all the cheeses and everything that's in the lasagna, you're really not going to taste the deer meat too much, but yet you've got your red meat. And this is a good way on how to spread some of your meat too, by fixing a nice plate of lasagna like this. Okay, so we got this all set. Now, let's bring this a little bit closer here. First we're going to put some of our lasagna down. What I did right here is I oiled my side, because sometimes, you know, when you go to cut a piece of lasagna out, it sticks to the side, and you don't like that. Kind of falls apart after that, and nobody wants it all falling apart. Okay, and here we're going to add our meat. Now you can make this in different ways, you know, depending, you know, you have to know your family that you're feeding and everything, because some can't handle too much of the spice, you know, the pizza sauce, tomato sauce, spaghetti sauce. Some people can't handle that, so you have to kind of go accordingly. All right, now I'm going to add a little bit of cheese on the top of this one, of the blend that I made. To make it taste a little bit like a cheeseburger, you know. So if you have somebody who can't have too much sauce and everything, then do, you know, adjust your recipes accordingly. There's no big set rule on you have to do it this way or that way. There we go. So I would, for them, you know, put my sauce down in that, and then I wouldn't add no, I use pizza sauce instead of spaghetti sauce, but I wouldn't add too much of it if you already know that they have a problem with it. Just because, you know, sometimes they like lasagna, but when they go out somewhere, you know, it's always too much sauce, and then they have to take antacids and stuff like that, so. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit of sauce on top of this one. So you can make your lasagna later any way you want. You can use regular hamburgers. You don't have to use deer hamburgers. That just happens to be what I have for winter food and everything. The boy did get his deer. I'm very happy with that. And with the cost of groceries and everything, A lot of people should pick up deer hunting. It's a good hobby. And it also feeds the family because, because sometimes, you know, if you get a deer that's young, the steak and sandwich are so delicious. Very good. Melts in your mouth, really. Okay, now we're going to add a layer of just the cheese. When you blended your cheese like this, you can pretty much do anything you want with it. Add a little bit more right here. There we go. Now, if you see, it's not all the way full, but you know when you put your noodles down and you flatten it all right out, you're good to go. There you go. See, it kind of spreads all out. You can see the white through there. I don't know if you can. There you go. All right, now I'm going to add another layer and finish off the rest of my meat in this. So we had a layer with the meat, a layer with just the cheese. I'm going to be really light with this one. Because, you know, if you use too much sauce, it will interfere when you're cooking, that's for sure. Because you're going to have, it's not going to stay together, you know, as you would a nice square. So try to stay with one jar of spaghetti sauce, and that's it, you know. So spread it, and you know that you need a lot on the top anyhow. So be a little careful with it. I already put plenty in the other layer. Okay, so now I'm going to finish off the rest of my meat. Now for all you deer hunters who love recipes with deer and, you know, used to just eating it hamburger on the grill or, you know, just steak sandwich for breakfast or whatever, well, you're going to want to stay tuned because I have got some really good recipes. Especially on the beef stew. You want to talk about a good beef stew. I got a good one for you. It's really thick, you know, which is how you want it. Of course, you get to put all the meat you want because you done caught your catch. So you're really going to enjoy that. It's really tender, super tender. And what I found, you know, it makes it taste like you can fool anybody. They're not going to know it's deer meat. It's that delicious. And it is so good. And of course, the young hunt, he likes his stew with a lot of meat. So you're going to want to stay tuned to my channel so that you can see that. All right. Now see, that kind of makes like a cheeseburger again. Cheeseburger, cheese, cheeseburger again. There you go. All right, and now we're going to not use no sauce and just finish off the rest of our cheese. So make good use of your hunt. Use up your meat, but find different ways to cook it, and the family will enjoy this. You know, a lot of people don't like deer meat, but, you know, when you start using it in different ways, instead of just serving it plain, you know, because sometimes plain, people will know the difference, of course, and it tastes maybe a little bit wild to them and everything, but if you use it in cooking, I mean, spaghetti sauce, you know, when you're making chopped suey or something like that, they really don't know it. I've done it to the kids so many times and they thought it was real hamburger in there. They never knew. Of course, when they grew up, I told them. They go, what? You were feeding us deer meat? Which was kind of funny. But yeah, I was. But they didn't know it. And it's okay. All right, put on our top layer here. But the beef stew, oh my God, that is so tender. It's been a long time. It took me a long time to find something that was going to work right, you know, and taste really good and nice and thick and flavor, tenderize the meat, unreal. Oh, it's beautiful. So I will be making that, so just go ahead and sub me, and you'll be sure to catch it when it comes around. So, something I look forward to doing. Now this is where you finish up the rest of your jar of spaghetti sauce. Make sure your noodle gets it real good. Now this is really good, you know, for your meal and everything, and if you don't have a great big large family, it's good for parties. But if you don't have a large family and stuff, well, the leftovers make really good for leftover night because we don't waste food. You know, or if mom and dad want to go out shopping and going to leave the teenagers to fend on their own, you know, this will be gone by the time you get home. But this is the kind of food they really love to just pop in the microwave, cut off a piece, pop it in the microwave. It's always so much better when it's reheated, because when you put it in the refrigerator after you've had your meal and everything, it holds together even better. This is also one of those things that you can make ahead of time if you know you're going to be having a party, especially a Christmas party or something, and you need to make some meals ahead of time. This is also another good one to do because you can put it in the freezer. And when you're ready, thaw it out the day before, and you're ready to go. Now we're just going to put some shredded mozzarella on top to complete our lasagna. I'm big on cheese. I'm a cheese lover. That's my downfall in life. Too much cheese. Can't help it. I really love it. There we go. And here we have a lovely lasagna meal. Alright, you can turn around and serve that with garlic bread. Fix yourself up a salad. Have a little bubble to go with your digestive system, you know, so that your meal is properly digested and everything. And there you go. Go ahead and bake this at 350 for a half hour and enjoy. A nice family treat. A lot of good eating in here. Bye-bye now. All right, I'd like to welcome you to Doris's Kitchen. And today we're going to make beef stew. So, first thing you need to get going is to take some stew meat and just chop it all up real small, because you want them all kind of like bite size. Okay? And what we did was we put a little bit of oil just to cover the bottom. Alright. We turn our burner on 7. There's a little bit more than the half mark. There we go. That kind of cooks up real fast. And a lot of people will turn around and cook their beef stew. They'll put butter and then fry it up. But if you talk to a lot of the hunters and everything, you're going to find out that if you cook with butter, your meat will get tough. So that was an old trick I learned from them, to turn around and cook with just a little bit of vegetable oil. There we go, look at that. You want just enough to turn around and cook it, because then when you do it in the stew, it'll be nice and soft and tender. All right, so while that's finishing up, let's talk about some of our other ingredients. Okay, first we're going to put 2 cups of water in our slow cooker. Now I have a small one, and this small one will feed a family of 4. I'm only 2, so there's always leftover for when the boy gets home from school. Okay, the next ingredient we're going to put is our beef stew mix. You can buy this package. It doesn't matter what kind of beef stew mix you buy, because the main super ingredient that helps to make your stew taste really good is adding the onions and celery. Now when you walk into a house and you can smell the aroma of onions and celery, it just builds your appetite right up. And you go, all right, that's a good cook. All right, let me stir this some more. Look at that, that's just about ready. There you go. All right, we're going to turn that off. Okay, so what I have here is 1/4 cup of celery and 1/4 cup of onions. Onions are really good, especially to put in your stews, especially in the wintertime and everything, because if you got a little bit of a cold coming on and everything, onions are very healthy for you. Okay, then we're going to add 1/2 cup of peas. Now if you buy a can of peas, you'll know that there's 2 1/2 cups. Okay, so save the other half for, you know, because Thanksgiving's coming and you'll want to make a turkey pie. So that would be good for that. Okay, and on my carrots, I usually buy the little baby carrots and everything. And then you can just slice them right up real tiny and everything, because you want everything in your stew to be, you know, eaten with a spoon, of course, but bite-sized, you know, small. And when I buy it like this, not only can you serve them as a vegetable like this with your meal, but you can use them in beef stew. If you're going to make a stew beef, a big one and everything, you can use them. I also use them with coleslaw and everything. So I got 1/2 cup of that. Okay, and then I'm going to add 2 medium-sized potatoes. Okay, so I slice them up. Then you just want to cut these into squares. They don't have to be no particular size. You'll know they're going to shrink as they cook. The sharpest knife right here, or I'm getting old, one or the other. Take your pick. Probably getting old. Alright, now my other potato. This is really, you know, you do a lot of stew beefs and stuff like that when in the wintertime, just to warm people up when they've been outside shoveling and stuff. And you know, in the old days, because the men really worked hard in the winter and stuff, a lot of them used to add a little bit of sugar to the stew. Only because, you know, they needed more energy and everything. Made it, of course, taste better and stuff too. But mostly to give them more energy in the wood, because they were all very hard workers. Okay, now the reason we cook it beforehand and everything, because you should, but also you don't want, you know, meat has blood to it, and you don't want all that sitting on top of your stew. Because usually when you cook a stew, you know, that's what's going to be on top, and it's just not appealing. So, we cook our meat first. Now this is really good for, you know, when you have to go to work and everything. You can put it all in the crock pot and take off to work. When you come home, you're all set. Meal will be ready. Just make sure you turn it off like 15-20 minutes before mealtime, just so you know, everything's not hot. Okay, just stir that all right up. Okay, now every time you make this, it comes out a little bit different, depending on, I guess maybe my potato was a little bit smaller, whatever. So I'm going to add just a little bit more. I added 2 cups, but you don't want it to go all the way to the rim, because when it cooks, it'll be too much. You know, because once it starts cooking and bubbling, you don't want it to go over when you're gone to work. So you do want to leave a little bit. There you go, about a half an inch there from the rim. Okay, and this is all you have to do. Stir it all up. Your potatoes, of course, will shrink and everything as they cook a little bit. And there you go. Put the lid on, turn it on. I cook it on low. Okay, and this is what you're going to have. A nice stew beef. Now, if you want, Jiffy has really good biscuits. All you need is a little bit of milk. You don't need a whole bunch of ingredients. Everything else is in the mix, you know, ready with the flour and everything. So, just a little bit of the Jiffy mix with some milk, and you have yourself some biscuits. So, you go right ahead, serve your stew up with some biscuits, and there you go. You have yourself a nice meal. Right now it's apple season, so you can take an apple, cut it right up, you know, into like, take the core out, then cut it into 4, add some sugar and cinnamon, bake it in the oven, and that can be dessert with a little bit of topping. Alright, hope you've enjoyed my bringing this to you. Bye-bye now. Hello, and welcome to Doris's Kitchen. Today we're going to do stuffed shells. Okay? So what we have here is a cup and a half of mozzarella cheese. Then we're going to add a container, one of these small containers of cottage cheese. The bird sings while I cook all the time. You probably hear them on my videos all the time. Okay? And then ricotta. Okay? One of the smaller containers. And we put all that in. Okay. Then we're going to add some of our Parmesan grated cheese. And this is really dry, so you just put a good amount. Okay, it's really dry, but what it does is it helps, well, to begin with, you get more flavors and more cheese. There we go, that's a good amount. But it helps to absorb a lot of the liquids from the cottage cheese, because you don't want a soupy mess. And then what we have here is some spinach, and I've cut it all up. Nice fresh spinach. If you don't have fresh and you want to use canned, you can do that too, because you know when it's cooked, it's not going to make a difference. Okay, we're going to blend this all up. And if you notice, I've already put a little bit of the pizza sauce in the bottom of my glass casserole dish. And that's just so that the shells don't just stick to the bottom, you know. Now, I use a pizza sauce instead of spaghetti sauce. Some people use spaghetti sauce, but I like the pizza sauce when I do mine. You don't know too many people who hate pizza, you know, so pizza sauce just adds a completely different flavor. Here we are, all blended up. Okay. Then with my shells, you cook them, but don't overcook them because you want the moisture from the sauce and everything to finish your cooking and everything, and also the moisture that might still be left in your cheeses. Okay, because you don't want it to end up a mess, a soupy mess. Okay, don't overstuff them either because they'll just open up and be a floppy mess. So you want this to look really nice. So remember, take a good scoop here of one of your soup spoons. There we go. And you just continue like this. What you'll do when you're done afterwards is you'll put some more spaghetti sauce on top, and then I have some more mozzarella cheese that I'll sprinkle on the top of that. So you get to see just a nice scoopful. A box of shells goes a really long ways. So if you make extra, this is really good for parties and stuff, but if you make extra, you know, because you're busy working during the week and you don't always have time to cook, you can make them ahead of time and stick them in the freezer. So that when you have a day that you're running late, you can always take it out, or you know you have a busy schedule and you won't have too much time when you get home to prepare a whole meal. You can take it out of the freezer in the morning and it'll be nice and thawed out. Throw it in the oven when you get home. There you go. So there's always ways that you can manage and still take care of a family while you work. And it is a busy world, so, you know, on weekends and stuff, fix that. You can put them in the smaller containers and just freeze it. So it's good. If not, well, Wednesday's probably a nice Prince Spaghetti day. Remember that saying? So this is a good thing. You can make it on the weekend, have it, and then have a leftover day, leftover meal. Make like a nice little smorgasbord for everyone. Oh, I got some sauce on my fingers. Push down a little too much. Here we go. Brought my pizza sauce too, because I'll have to put that on top. Forgot to lay that on the table to be ready. That stuff happens a lot. Here we go. So I'll definitely have plenty to make more than one batter. Okay, now open up there. There we go. So if you make a whole bunch of these and everything, you can also put them in bags or containers and just freeze them without the sauce for whenever. You know, with Christmas coming and everything, you're going to have a lot of parties here. So let's get ready for that. Now when you put your sauce on afterwards, you don't want to overdo it. So we're going to be light on the sauce because we've already put enough at the bottom so our shells do not stick. There we go. Slide over, big boy. see, I still have plenty left here to do another container. Okay, or if you want to stuff more in there, you surely can. I mean, this is a popular meal around here. So you can also put them diagonally, throw in some extras right here and there. There we go. Doesn't that look appetizing? Now when you want to serve this and everything, you know, because it is, you know, a lot of cheese. So you want to serve kind of lightly. So this is a good meal if you're going to have guests and stuff. You can serve this with your garlic bread. Remember, you don't have to buy garlic bread. You just get a loaf of bread. In the bakery department, they have the nice big breads, big loaves, you know, that are not pre-cut, and you can slice them up. And all you have to do is butter them and put some garlic on them. And then broil them in the oven. And there you go. Ooh, okay, kind of overcrowded a little bit there. Oh, I think I can still put one more right here. There we go. One more, guys. There we go. And here we are. Okay, now we're going to lightly put some more. Remember, we don't want a whole lot. You get a whole lot, these guys are just going to spread right out and be a little bit of a sloppy mess. So in all, you've used almost a half, well, a little bit more than a half of a small jar of pizza sauce. Okay, now we're just going to put some of our mozzarella cheese on top. Lightly just put that. Okay, now what you're going to want to do is put some tin foil on top of this and then bake it in the oven at 350 for about 25 minutes. Then you'll be ready to serve. The reason you're going to want to cover it is because you're light on the sauce. You want it to absorb all the sauce that's there. And if you don't, the top will just dry out. The cheese might overcook, and then it won't be so good. But if you cover it, then the moisture all goes into the noodles, and it all absorbs, and you have a beautiful meal. And this is what you have. Now you can serve that up with a salad. See, 3 is pretty much a good size for a meal because there's a lot of cheese, very high in protein, and you have your spinach and everything. Then you have your bread for your garlic bread. Serve that up with a salad and everything, and of course remember your bubbles for your digestive system. So there you go, a beautiful lasagna dinner. Lasagna stuffed shell. Lasagna's tomorrow, so stay tuned for that video, because tomorrow I'll be making lasagna. Okay, bye-bye now. Okay, today we're going to show you chicken pot pie, made my way. Okay, but instead of using chicken, we're using our leftover turkey. So if you notice, I have 2 cups of turkey meat. I use the dark meat because it's not going to matter. A lot of kids are very picky about white meat and dark meat. So if you use the dark meat when you're doing something like this, you're not wasting anything. First, I'm going to start with making my biscuits. And of course, I make my biscuits with Jiffy Mix. Okay? I'm going to make a little bit extra too. But I start with my Jiffy Mix. Okay, for every 2 cups of the Jiffy flour, you're going to use 2/3 cups of milk. So I am doubling my recipe. And as I make these, I'll tell you why I'm doubling my recipe. Okay. Only because I like to have extra. Because a good way to use any leftovers that I have is just to bake them as biscuits. Because afterwards, I use the biscuits with my strawberries that I picked from my strawberry bed this summer, and I freeze it. So I just thaw some of that out. The strawberries will make their own juice. And I cut a biscuit in half. Need a little bit more because this thing's a little thin. The biscuits, if I cut them in half, then I put my strawberries on it, put some whipped cream, and I have strawberry shortcake. Woo! One of my big loves. Alright. Well, this is ready. Now, you can make them using your cutter and to, pat it down, put some more of that on the table, pat it down, and turn them into nice little biscuits. I mean, that's what you're going to do with the leftovers. Or you can just drop it in spoon drops. It depends on how much baking, how much you like baking. A lot of people don't like baking at all. But they have to feed the family. Okay. There we go. Okay, before I get into this, because my hands will start to get a little bit messy, what we do with our chicken is we'll use a damati, peas, and carrots. It's already mixed for you. Really simple. Open it up. Of course, drain it. And then just pour it in. See, instead of buying 2 different cans and having leftovers, this is perfect. Nice combination. It's already fixed for you. Cut to the right size. There you go. Look at that. See how easy this is? 2 cups leftover turkey, 1 can there. And then after that, I use my Campbell's cream of chicken soup. So this works out really good. A lot of people will go through the trouble of making, special gravy for it and everything. But in today's world, everybody's in a hurry. So this is a good way to just put it all on. And when it cooks, it'll mix as it should. And darken a little bit in color too. This makes for a really nice balanced meal. You have your meat, you have all your vegetables, you got your bread. Alright, I'm going to spread that out a little bit. It'll go underneath as it cooks, you know, like soups always do. Sauces and soups will go where they need to go. Cream of chicken just stays with the whole flavor of the turkey and everything. There we go. Get that all out of the way. Alright. I'll move that a little bit. Give me a little more room here to work with. Now, a good thing for kneading this is to help activate everything. Get it all good and ready for rising. Of course, we don't want it to be hard as a rock, so we don't overdo it. Okay. Take a little bit of that, just to make sure it doesn't want to stick to the end. There you go. Okay, now if you're not doing this with turkey leftovers, you can always just boil yourself up a couple of chicken breasts and do it with a couple of chicken breasts. The reason I like to use the cream of chicken is because a lot of times you'll have chicken pot pie and it's kind of dry. I don't like dry. Okay. Now I'll save the rest of this because I'll be making it into biscuits for my dessert, my strawberry shortcake. They work out really nice. But here you are. There you go. Chicken pot pie made really super easy. I want one more because what I also do, and this is for a neighbor, is I make an individual one to give to a neighbor. Now please always remember your neighbors, especially your elderly neighbors or single neighbors, if they're middle-aged or elderly or whatever, around the holiday season. This is also another one of those things that you can do, bake it, and then stick it in the freezer, because you know at Christmas time there's a lot of parties to go to, and it's always bring a dish. So here you'll already have a dish all ready. When you rush home from work and have to hurry up and go to a Christmas party, you know, you always have to be prepared. So this is something to have handy on hand. So if you have the extra days off from work at Thanksgiving time, you can do a lot of these little things to make life easier for you at Christmas time. That's all part of being organized and everything. And this is the finishing touch. You have your biscuit. You have your filling with your turkey, your peas, your carrots, and gravy. Add some mashed potatoes to that. Then maybe either add a tossed salad or a coleslaw. So a tossed salad, coleslaw, and there's your meal. All right, happy eating. Make sure you check out all my videos on what to do with leftover turkey. Okay, make sure you plan ahead for your Christmas season so life can be easier, because you'll have shopping and parties and everything. So this is all a good way to think ahead. Okay, bye-bye now.